You should hopefully hear me now because I have a new tiny microphone and I am no longer far away from the sound input. That means I get to work on the art table today, and I want to revisit the journal work that we were doing 2 videos ago. So not the last video when I went through some junk journal stuff, but the one before it where we did some fun play with granulating watercolor. I will say this was part of what I think we did in that video, worked on this little abstract landscape piece, and I am very happy with where it is. I know it's not done. I'm not sure I know what I want to do with it next. Still percolating. But I do want to come back to these watercolors that we did. These were the ones we did with the Gansai Tambi super granulating watercolors. That's where I washed off extra paint and then for some reason collaged that little thing on top of it. Yeah, so the next step in Denise Love's video, which is what was the inspiration for these little guys, was stenciling and then mark making. And I wanted to wait for these to dry, and I mean, once again, I just show you up close so you can see how much that granulating watercolor separates into those beautiful separate pigments. And then in this one where we used multiple colors and let them bleed into each other, we get some really nice effects too. This was the single paint granulating watercolor. So again, I just used a single paint on this when making these, and that one single color just bloomed and separated into these wonderful blobs. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick out some stencils that we can use. And I want to, I think, just put, I know Denise Love loves her gold metallic paint. I do have some gold metallic, but I'm not sure that's what I'm going to use. So I think I'm going to see where this takes me. I like, these are Tim Holtz stencils that I have. This is my stencil bin / binder. I have many ways of keeping many stencils all, I'm not going to say organized because that sounds much tidier than what I actually got going on. I do think this is a nice potential option, this grunge and this little sort of like beehive honeycomb situation. I like these circles and X's and dashes. Those are nice. There's more of that grunge, but it appears to be, yeah, different grunge. And then this like stone or something. And then I have a bunch of stencils I got from Amazon. If I can find them, I can link them, especially if these are the ones we use. Oh, I do kind of, I don't know. No, I think I want to stick with organic shapes. Part of me wanted, like, the idea of the contrast of those squares and rectangles, but I think I want organic shapes. Like, I could take these circles. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, this is a stencil I did some surgery on. I got rid of the harsh square edges and just cut around the little circle shapes so that when I lay it down, I don't have those harsh edges to contend with. I did that on a couple of them. So if you're wondering what's going on, that's what's going on. Let's see. So far, nothing's like jumping out at me, which is fine. That means I'll either go back to one of the ones I already looked at, or there's something else in here that I haven't come across yet. I do love these. These are these grid circle masks. Those are nice. I don't think that's what I want for today. I have a bunch of weird organic shapes and things I've cut out as stencils and masks. So I can always go through here, but I don't think that's really what I'm going for either. I know enough about what's in that little pile. This is some Asemic writing. I think I got these off Joggles, both a stencil and these little masks. Those are kind of cool, but I think they may be a little too large for what we're doing, because these are fairly small little pieces we're working on. So I think super big stencils are probably not in the cards. Let's see. These here are contact paper masks. They're kind of hard to see, but it's pieces of contact paper I cut a circle out of and did some stamping and stuff. And I just got those hanging out until I decide I need them again. So big stuff, sea turtle, cat. I love making my own little stencils and masks, and I sort of do it periodically when I get in the mood or something makes me think about it, and I will just cut all kinds of shapes and things out. These are page protectors that I cut into. It was from a session from the Gel Printers Summit this year, and these are lovely for jelly printing. I didn't think that I would get as excited about them as I did, and they are really cool. These are my For the Birds stencils from Joggles. Those are lovely. This is a contender. That's the first one I've picked up that's made me go, ooh. Oh. I got this All and Create stencil, and I haven't even used it yet. Whoa. Okay. I told you they would eventually come to me. These are some good ones too. I'm going to keep that aside just in case. These are my little paper dolls. Yeah, no, we have a winner. I got that All and Create stencil a little while ago. I don't know about you. I go through so many different ideas, and I get excited by so many different things, and a lot of times I will be really into something and I will make some sort of art supply purchase towards that thing, and by the time it arrives I am excited about something else and I don't get to it right away. And sometimes I still get to it pretty quickly, and other times, like with this awesome All and Create stencil, I think I bought this a few months ago and then kind of deviated from whatever had me stencil shopping in the first place, and didn't come back to it. And right now, this is the one that's really exciting me the most. I'm going to keep those other two out in case I decide I want to do it, but I just like that. And I'm thinking, do I want white in there, or do I want something else? Because I could do white, I could do a pale yellow. All right, I'm going to pause and pull some paints out to use for our little stencils. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. I have pulled out a few different things. I am still making up my mind as we speak. So the first is if we want to go sort of with a white color. This is some more of that chalk type of paint, the craft folk art chalk paint that I don't like. I don't love it, but it does leave a nice matte finish. I don't want to waste it, so I've been slowly using it. And this is an off-white kind of a color, which is nice. So I pulled that just in case I want to play with it. It could be some fun. It also, yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted. I got distracted by these sprays I have, these ink sprays, and thinking like, I wonder if one of these would look good. All right, we'll come back to that. That's a for later thing. So could do that. For this one in particular, I have some of this design cream stencil stuff that I thought might be nice. I've got some solar paste in beluga that I thought might look nice over here. More of that same design cream for this one. Oh, excuse me. And then in honor of Denise, I did pull some metallics. I don't use them a ton. I don't have a ton. But I thought these could be fun to play around with. And so I think I'd do gold on those and maybe the copper or bronze on the other. And I think, let's see, let's pull out an actual sheet of palette paper, shall we? I think last time I worked on here, I just had some scrap paper that I used, and that's fine, but honestly does not hold up nearly as well as actual palette paper. And this is my big cup of wonky brushes, but these ones are nice for stencils. Just pull a couple of different stencil brush type brushes. Oh, I knew I had a baby one. There we go. Got a teeny tiny stencil brush, larger stencil brush, and an even larger sort of stencil brush. So we've got options, baby. All right, I'm going to move some of the stuff out of here. I need to get my my acrylic paint water opened up because we're definitely going to need to use that to put brushes and various things in. Also going to get some baby wipes handy because I find those particularly useful when cleaning up stencils. And a lot of times you may have noticed on my big bin of stencils, I don't necessarily wash them when I use paint on them, but I do for things that are thicker, like these design creams, and even maybe this chalk paint can be a little bit thick. So if I'm using some sort of texture paste or something, I will usually get those cleaned right away. I know some people put them in like a big tub of water until they're done with their session. I don't really have space for a big tub of water other than places where I just kind of imagine Sassy the art cat knocking it over, or who knows, or frankly, I will just step into it. Let's be honest, we don't need to put the blame on Sassy. I would probably step in it and drag it everywhere. So, okay, I did not love using this design cream with my palette knives that I had last time. I do have other palette knives in a variety of weird shapes, and I don't know that I think that that's going to be any more useful. And at first I grabbed that paint shaper, and it's possible that that could do the work, but maybe this Sonic gift card will do the trick instead. I use these cards for painting, especially abstract painting, all the time. I love them. They're magical. I don't know what I would do without them. So I want to see, the problem with the stencils, there's so many really great textury bits and shapes that I just keep moving it around and thinking like, oh, I want to do that, or I want to do that, or yeah. I think I want to do that there, and sometimes I would tape this down, but I'm probably going to be moving it around so that I can pick. And yeah, again, this design cream, I got it on sale. I have a feeling it's thicker than it's supposed to be and then it dried out. I have one other color that is a little bit creamier. Cat hair. But it does cool stuff. I'm not going to let it go to waste because I do like the effects it gives me. So I'm just going to make do. Okay, yes. So this has this lovely raised texture too, which is what I like the most about it. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to end up getting more stencil butters or design creams of some sort, or I should try more with like texture paste. I really do enjoy the sort of effects they give me. I don't want to lay this down on top of where I've already put it and smudge and smear. So there we go. Let's work on this next one. And I like getting it in here with just a little bit of something nice and interesting. And that little bit of the cream is actually going to cover almost everything. And yes, I do like the card better than those palette knives. I think mostly because in all of the cases I've had to put my hands or my fingertips really close to the place where I'm laying it down to really smoosh it through the stencil. And that's just more comfortable and easier with a card like this than it is with a palette knife. Oh my goodness. I'm obsessed. Look at this. I'm not like 1000% sure I love the yellow, but I think I like it because there really is yellow that was in that granulation. It was paler than what I've got here. So it's a little bit harder to see, but it still looks really cool. And I still have some opportunities for other marks and things. So big fan, happy with that. Let's cover up the yellow design cream and set it aside. I don't think I'm gonna use any more paint on that. I think if I do anything, it's probably going to be with mark making tools, markers, gel pens, things like that instead of paint. I need to wipe this off the stencil because I don't want it to dry on it. Sometimes I will wipe this onto another surface. I'm actually going to go ahead and do that right now because I think it will go through the stencil. You can see right there. In an interesting sort of way. It's going to be grungier looking, and it's not going to have that same relief, that same texture as when we put it through the stencil on the piece the first time around. But it's still, I think, it's an opportunity to make sure that I use as much of it as possible, which I always like to do. And I feel like I just get some really interesting and unexpected results when I do it. So this one, the stencil, it kind of bled around a little bit, so it didn't give me as much of what I usually like to get. But especially on that white shape right here, there's some that's coming in. So yeah, still really cool to do. And let's see. Yeah, okay. This baby wipe is getting very gross and grungy. And I already feel so excited. Okay. So this thing is mostly clean. I kind of want to clean it some more with a cleaner baby wipe. And I have no particular preference when it comes to baby wipe brands other than to say I like the ones that are like 99% water or whatever, right? Less waste, biodegradable, all of the all of the things that can make them as earth-friendly as possible. Obviously not as earth-friendly as not using a baby wipe altogether, but, you know, I do try not to go overboard with stuff. And I prefer them to be fragrance-free. So as environmentally friendly as possible and fragrance-free. That's my baby wipe tip for you. And I think I was a little rude to my stencil and bent a piece of it back, but it seems better now. So that's pretty clean. Where do I want to put you? Over here, out of the way. Okay. So this is as far from beautiful as it could possibly be right now, but that's usually when I like to work with things the most because it's very low pressure. Can't make it look much uglier than it already does. Okay, got 2 other stencils I set aside here. That could be really fun. These could be fun, but I'm leaning towards this. And I say go with what's calling to you. So we have a couple of different options, and honestly, this stencil is large enough that I think I am just going to tape it down. Got some masking tape, and if I tape it down so it doesn't move, then I can just do all of my stenciling at once and make things as easy as possible on myself. And I can play with more than one paint color. Good stuff, good stuff. How much tape do I need? All right. Does that feel reasonably sturdy? It does. I think we'll stop there. I don't want to use any more than I have to. All right. Put you over here, out of the way. I really want to use the solar paste. It's fun. It's this color is Beluga. And it's just metallic, like color shifting paste. It's pretty cool. So I know I'm going to use that. I'm tempted to use that along with this design cream. And that's where my heart is. I think I'm going to do the design cream first, then go in with the solar paste, and then clean the stencil and see where we land. Because this is fun. I can put it in a bunch of different places, so it's just kind of dotted throughout. It's, you know, make some interesting marks. I really won't see where they land or what it looks like until I pull the stencil off after I've laid down all the paste, and I think that that's super cool. So we've got the cream on there, and then I'm gonna grab the solar paste, and I think I'm just gonna use this little brush I've got and grab it right out of the jar and just dab that anywhere I think it might be interesting. And, all right, let's see, I want to put a little bit over the cream itself, so we'll have that color shift. I don't really want to get the cream color in there, but it is what it is. So we'll have the cream, the color shift both on the paint and paper directly, and in some areas over top of that more textured cream. And I think that will be super cool. Let me get some of that out. I'm going to dry it off on this grungy baby wipe. Can lend itself to us for one more type of use in its tiny little baby wipe life. And I have that, by the way, I should have mentioned when I opened up that little jar. I just have like an old face cream jar that I saved because I will save just about any jar or package if I think it is going to be remotely useful to me. And I just put the, I just put the baby wipe in there, and if I'm in the middle of one and I feel like it's still got more life to give, I will just pop it in this little jar so it stays, sorry everybody, moist, for future use. And I don't know why I put it away. I'm going to use it to clean this stencil. You know, I am on and will be on Benadryl a lot for the foreseeable future because I am finishing up building up my allergy shot regimen, and I am doing a ton of yard work, and the yard work makes me very itchy. Okay, I love it. This is really fun. It's still kind of subtle, which I also like. Like the design cream itself is a fairly muted color. It's this like muted blue. And then the solar paste just adds a little extra shimmer and stuff to the color. That's nice. Okay, so our stenciled areas need to dry, and I need to clean off this stencil. I will pause while all of that happens, and then we can come back and play around with these a little bit more. All right, we're back. I went ahead and pulled some colored pencils and some jelly roll pens in the colors that I thought we would want to use to finish embellishing. And I didn't pick a whole lot for this one. I sort of want to stick in this red and yellow kind of a color family. Oop, I meant to pull gold. Gold. There we go. So jelly rolls in, and I usually go for the size 10 because they tend to just be happier. So this is a metallic gold and this lovely pink right here that I really like. And then this is a Lyra colored pencil, Rembrandt Polycolor in light carmine. And that's what we're going to play with. I have a million different colored pencils, and I use all sorts of brands. As long as I enjoy using it, I'm pretty much happy with it. And I don't know if you've ever used a colored pencil that like is really hard to get color down, where you have to push really hard and it's not very vibrant, and it just doesn't feel good in your hand to use. So there's plenty of colored pencils I don't like, but as long as it feels good and I'm getting the kind of result I want, I'm happy. I was sort of, I'm going to say, raised on Prismacolor, not by like my family or anything, but I think my aunt, I have an artist an aunt who's an artist who's an aunt. I think she may have been the one to first give me Prismacolors, and they're wonderful to use, and I've used them forever. I started trying a few other brands, so I do have other things mixed in. This is a Derwent Chromaflow. This one's an Orchid. And I've got some polychromos flying around and stuff. And I even use some of these, where are they? These black Faber-Castell black pencils that show up really well on black paper, which is not why I got them. I just liked the colors. Honestly, I don't do a lot of work on black paper. So I am happy to use all kinds of pencils. And I just thought it would be fun to kind of add some additional marks in here. This blob has this sort of hard to see edge where just the yellow part of the paint flowed over and it's very faint. So I did want to give that a little bit of definition because I felt like it was missing over there. So now you can actually see where the paint moved to. And I don't see a whole lot more where I think it needs that. There's a little over here and a little here. I'm just going to kind of almost fill in those gaps, if you will. So let's just pull those in. And I like these lines, and I feel like I want to start taking them outside of the blobs a little. So that's what I'm going to do, because it's a wonderful thing here. I might hate what I decide to do. No one else has to see it. It's a good opportunity to experiment, though. And I tend to enjoy a wonky line, so let's add more wonky lines. All I know is that I really wanted to add stuff outside of the blobs. I love them the way they are. I might add a little bit more on the inside, but honestly, between the work that granulating paint is doing and that beautiful textured stencil, I don't know that we need more going on inside the blobs, really. The blobs. All right. I'm going to add some circles because it just wouldn't be me if there weren't dots and circles. I don't know. Different people have different shapes or scribbles that they gravitate towards. And for me, it's often dots and circles. I love them. I love the irregularity of them. I don't know. They feel nice to me to make. I can change the shapes and the lines and do all kinds of different things with them. And they make me happy. They feel complete and whole, much like a circle, if you will. I don't want to put them everywhere. I kind of feel like I put a little more on this side than I meant to. It happens. Que sera. Let's just get a few more in. And I'm gonna just make dots. I love jelly roll dots. These size 10 jelly roll dots are like the perfect size dot. They're large enough that you do see them. They do actually, do something on the page. I've used things with nibs so small that you basically need a magnifying glass. Most of the time, it doesn't really seem to make much of an impact on the work. And there's probably a place for that, but most of the time, if I'm putting a dot down, I want you to see the dot. So we're going to add some dots, and they're going to be lovely dots. And they're going to make me happy because they're here. Oh, I'm going to go into the blob just a little. I just now decided that the dots should wander into the blob just a bit. And you don't see them very much because I purposely picked pencil and pen colors that are very, very similar. But that's okay. I think that's kind of neat that they're very subtle. So I know I just said if I make dots, I want you to see the dots, but I promise you can see the dots on here. So let's have them intrude on these other blobs as well. Yeah. And that's going to make everything kind of pull together as one instead of having it like almost two distinct pieces, the outside and the inside. Now we've got some dots that are carrying things between the blobs and the empty space here, much like a virus, goes from the air into the host. I know it's gross. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Part of the point of having a YouTube channel is so you can say weird stuff. There we go. If I don't force myself, I will just put dots everywhere. Now, the other type of line that I really love to make, that you've probably, if you've watched a few of these now, you've already seen, is this, I hold my tool and twirl it and make a wonky line. Oh, wow. You can't even see that. There we go. You saw what I did. Now you can see what it looks like. I'm trying to decide if I want that, and I think I do. Okay. Sometimes it just takes a minute. And that, too, is going to go from outside to inside. And with the added bonus of if it goes over any of this textured stenciling, that's going to add more wonkiness, which I love. So I'm just twirling and being as loose with a pen as you could possibly be, I think. Maybe you could be looser. I'm still in my overcoming perfectionism phase, so I'm probably still way more uptight with my pen than many people. And yeah, I like that. Again, it's hard to see that gold from far away with the light, but you can see those sort of wonky lines fading in and out. Let's see. Denise's stuff always looks so polished, and I love that for her, but that's just not me. All right, I want to color, or not even color in, but I want to put gold inside these dots. Either draw little circles inside or just put a dot inside a circle, depending on the size of the circle. That's fun. That's fun for me. Okay. And, yeah. Oh, there we are. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Is it the favorite thing I've ever made? No. Is there a lot I like about it? Yes. It was just very fun and relaxing and exciting to make. It gave me an opportunity to play and try some things that I don't normally do. And who knows, I might revisit it later and do other stuff to it. But at the moment, I'm happy with where it is. And I'm going to come over here and play around on this one. And then that's going to be it for today. So this is a Prismacolor Periwinkle pencil. This was very similar to that stencil or design cream that we had. And so I thought it might be fun. And I'm going to start by doing some of the same stuff. Kind of adding lines where I want to, if not define a shape that's hard to see, I'm actually kind of like drawing a line just in the negative space around the blob lines, and I like how that's looking. So I'm going to keep playing with that. This one I actually want to reinforce the edge of the blob because it's not as well defined. And I like this. This is fun. This looks neat. And I am not going to use the periwinkle all the way through. I pulled colored pencils in different shades that are represented here so that I could play around with that throughout. And so that's exactly what I plan to do. Okay, put my periwinkle aside. And this is a Chromaflow, Derwent Chromaflow in Orchid, and it's similar to these lovely rosy bits over here that I got that I think were kind of an accident. I don't think there was anything I was using that I would have expected to pull into these colors quite this way, and I was really excited to see that. So I wanted to make sure that I pulled it into the piece a little bit more because I just thought it was really cool. So here we go. Here we go. This is just this is another fun and soothing thing. I love doing this kind of stuff when I just need a brain break, because there gets to be a point with these where you just get into it and you're not thinking, you're just marking. And I would be more in that space if I wasn't recording this on video, to be honest. But that is fine. We're okay with that. And we're going to be doing a lot of these kinds of things while I am still in yard work mode, because yard work mode zaps a lot of my energy, especially when I'm taking Benadryl. And so I think we'll be doing a lot of sort of gentle journaling while I'm in that phase. And that's nice. I think one of the nice things about having a regular art practice, particularly some sort of, low-key art journaling practice, is that you have the opportunity to do things like this that are very relaxing, very soothing, and just let them take you where they take you. And then, other times you can work on something bigger or more experimental when that's the mood you're in and where your sort of creative energy is leading. This is Prismacolor again. This is pumpkin orange. There's just this teeny tiny little bit of orange that popped through in this bit of granulation. And much like the little rosy color, I wanted to make sure that I pulled it into more of the piece. I didn't want it to get lost. And especially with additional mark making, it'd be very easy for it to get lost. So I'm just finding little places to work it in so that there's more of it. And yeah, okay. Next we'll do this aquamarine. We had this big green blob from that, I think, cosmic green. And it's pretty, but it's all kind of concentrated in one place. So very much in the same vein of the other things, kind of pulling stuff through so it doesn't get lost or just show up in one part. Because it's so easy for stuff to get lost, especially as you add more marks. It changes where your eye goes. It changes what you see in the piece. And if I add more stuff without, using some of these colors that are less represented, I just worry they'll kind of fade away. So I'm trying to... There are several of these areas now where I've put a line and then I'm putting another line sort of in the same place, an echo. And I did not plan that, but I really like it. So let's get a few more of these green ones in. They're so lovely. Then I had this green that showed up over here from when I was playing with the bamboo skewer, and it just you almost don't know where it comes from, and it's from that granulated paint. There was less of it, so it didn't separate as much as it did in the bigger blob here. And I just think that's really neat. So very fun, very, it's just playing with paint and seeing how different paints behave is just one of my favorite things. I will be honest, I see people, there's lots of people I watch on YouTube or take various lessons from online who will talk about the importance of playing with things and seeing how different colors move and that stuff. And I would love to say that I'm, I've played with these, and now the next time I go to use this one here or this cosmic green here, that I'm going to remember, or how those things, I won't. And even if I write it down in a notebook somewhere, I'm not going to remember to go look at that note. I'm just not. I'm not going to be like, ooh, I want to get this effect again. How do I do that? No. Even when I do something really cool in an art journal and I write it down on the back and I think like, oh, okay, now I'll remember what I did. And when I'm flipping through it, if I go, oh, that's neat, I want to do that again. I will still look at that note, I promise you, because I did this recently, and go, okay, but how? Like there'll be some sort of like, I used this, and then I used this over top of that, but it just like doesn't translate enough for me. And I think that's one of the reasons I like doing really intuitive and discovery-oriented paintings, partly because they're just way more fun and relaxed than stuff where I've like carefully mapped out what I want to do and how. And sometimes it's, yeah, I mean, that's really about it. All right, so I pulled some jelly rolls. I pulled this like purpley one and a silver, and I think silver is actually where it's at for me. And I don't want to do too much. I just want to do more dots and circles. Let's just do more dots and circles. And it's just going to give us a little bit of bling. It's going to show up more in some color areas than others. There we go. Dots and circles, dots and circles. So much fun. So soothing. I could seriously pick up like another 5 of these if I had them and just do more of these doodles. And actually, I should make several of these, because that's the other really cool thing. If you do something like these granulating paint blobs enough times, it gets a little bit easier to start really experimenting on top of them because they don't feel so precious. So I only have 2 here. So there is at least a teeny voice in my head that's like, ooh, don't ruin it. You really like that one, Amber. If you play around and you do it wrong, it's going to be gone. Well, this one I actually could more or less redo. It's literally just one color of paint. And so as long as I remember that or write that down on the back or something, I can redo the base of this and put something else on top of it and see if I like it more. But yeah, I have some similar studies I've been working on, where I play with a mix of different water-soluble medias, but almost always including some sort of pigment crystal like Brusho or Paper Artsy infusions, and some hydrous watercolor, liquid watercolor, that's really concentrated, and usually other water-soluble things like charcoal. And I will then go over them with transparent gesso and smudge and smear and play with the colors, and just sort of see where they take me. I'm thinking I want to do a video of that soon, just because it's honestly, it's so fun. I could make 1,000 of those. They fill my soul in a way that very few things do, and I love that. So yeah, here's this guy. Honestly think I like this one more than the other one in terms of how it turned out. I really like all of these colored pencil lines that filled in that negative space and added colors, sort of spread the colors throughout the page. I really like that one. But I'm not mad at this one. It is really pretty. It is very it's a little subtle for me in a weird way. Like the colors are very vibrant, but they're also very limited, and I'm really letting the texture speak for itself. Both the texture of that granulated paint and the texture of these stencils. And yeah, I think I want to play with these lines more. That may be where I take it next, just come in here with either some more watercolor or water pencil or something, watercolor pencil, and add some additional paint and line in there, but I'm not sure yet, so I'm just going to let that one stay. And so that's it for these journal pages. We started them 2 videos ago. We ended them here. And hopefully you all heard me really well while I talked to you. So if you enjoyed this, please remember to give the video a like. And if you want to see more, subscribe and hit that bell and you'll get notified whenever I post a new video. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.